thank you for coming out to Fabspeed.
My absolute pleasure.
We really appreciate it. You're on your big USA tour of the East Coast. Are you going anywhere else besides down to Miami?
I'm heading all the way around the entire country. That's the aim. So I'll be across in California, loads of stops along the way and on the way back. There's a lot. There's a lot planned.
Well, I'm sure that you put a lot into making this whole trip. I'm interested in you and how you became such an influencer for the exotic cars, supercars, hypercars. There's a lot of people out there doing this.
There are. I think it's a fascinating world, even for me still following it. Because, of course, for me, it actually started out of a love of cars. You know, the automotive industry, new cars, exciting cars, noisy, fast cars, whatever it may be. So I just started doing what I really liked. You know, I took pictures, I made videos, I put them on the internet. And I guess fortunately for me, this whole whirlwind has grown to an audience that's now following all of these trips and visits and things I'm getting up to. So I'm incredibly lucky to be in this position, and it's amazing to be able to come to places and meet people like yourselves.
Well, that's wonderful. 1.7 million YouTube followers, subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. Do you realize that you have more YouTube subscribers than Elton John does?
Do I? That's quite a fun statistic.
He has 1.2 million.
Oh, does he?
You have 1.7. Half a million people like you better than a guy.
Has he only just started his YouTube channel?
No, he's been just writing music for 50 years now.
I wondered if maybe the channel had only been opened like a week ago, which is why I don't quite have so many yet. But anyway, no. Do you know what? This is one of the things I find the craziest, because it's 1.7 on YouTube. It's also about 1.3 I think on Instagram, but it's 2.5 million on Facebook, and those numbers are just insane. That's a big city. That's not or a country. In some cases, it's a country. Of people, and I find it amazing how many people are following this journey, following the content, so it's really cool.
Well, it's fascinating. First of all, you got a great personality, and I think that attracts people in. And then you're smart. I mean, you understand these cars. What makes, for you, a supercar or a hypercar or an exotic car?
I think, so, you know, it's visually, the design, the flow of the car, what it looks like, the engineering elements of the car, the aerodynamics, the way the car is created. I'm fascinated by pushing boundaries of technology and engineering and how manufacturers are doing that. Then of course you have the emotional aspects, the driving experience, the noise and sound of the car, pretty topical of course, certainly at this current time. And it's the excitement of them. I think cars, one of my favourite things is how they bring people together. You can be, you know, myself for example, I can be here in Philadelphia, or I can be in a different state, or I can be in a different country, but you instantly have something in common with people who like cars, and you can talk forever. Right. And you probably know this as well as I do. It's the way supercars bring people together with the shared passion is what I particularly enjoy about them.
So Enzo Ferrari once famously said, I've got the quote here, aerodynamics are for people who can't build engines.
Yes, he did say that.
It's kind of an interesting quote.
It is indeed, it is indeed.
In your world, if you had to pick one, what comes first? The engine or the design?
This is a difficult one because
you are on the spot.
I am on the spot. I'm not going to lie, I am partial to a Ferrari naturally aspirated V12. I think they do that better than just about anybody else.
Old school,
The way, you know, an 812 or something just screams up through the revs. The sound is to die for. But then equally, you know, I've come to visit today in my Ford GT, which is a car heavily aerodynamics based.
Right.
You know, it's about maximising performance, keeping it lightweight without pushing too far on the power and engine size. In fact, it's got a 3.5 litre V6. It's a relatively small engine, and that's a car that's very aero based. So I think I'm kind of split in the middle. I quite like the extremes in this. I like all focused on the engine, the Ferrari kind of Grand Tourer way, or all focused on the aero, like the Ford GT and the Senna and these kind of fascinating cars, especially the next generation. Cars like the Mercedes AMG 1, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, all of these kind of cars, which are so much focused on their aerodynamics. I think it's fascinating that what the engineering can allow the car to achieve.
Right. So we have a kind of new supercar entry coming in with the C8.
We do.
Where do you put that?
So I was lucky enough to go to the launch of the new Corvette, the 8th generation. And what's particularly fascinating is it looks like a supercar. It's got a mid-engine. It's got 500 horsepower, and that's you know, that's not take it lightly. That's 500 horsepower. That's a big number. And where I'm kind of slightly mixed is I've talked before about this kind of in my mind how you can define different categories of supercar or hypercar, and a supercar has to have a number of aspects, right? It has to look the part, it has to have the performance, but it also has to have, I would say, a level of rarity around it. And that's one of the interesting things with the Corvette, because at $60,000, where they're at the starting entry point.
Right.
I think everybody's going to be lapping them up.
Right.
So
Right.
what you get for the money is just insane. So where does it fit? Is it a supercar? This is where I'm a little bit. I'm not quite sure.
Does it fit in the beginning,
It
and then
fits in
maybe
the beginning.
later on?
It looks like a supercar. I imagine it's going to drive like a supercar.
Right.
And the only thing that it will not have is the rarity, because it's so good for the money.
Right.
It's slightly like Catch-22, isn't it?
Right. It most certainly is.
But I mean, it's a no-brainer. I'm very impressed by it when they launched it.
But outside of cars, as you're cruising through America, East Coast and West Coast, what other things are you finding are interesting?
So I mean, I'm part of what I got into doing, how I got into doing all of this is that I love traveling. I love going to places, just meeting people, seeing places. I'm not number one fan of walking around a museum for hours or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like to just see things, just see, go to the next, pack in as much as possible. So this for me is kind of the dream road trip, because I'm going to so many cities on this tour.
Right.
I mean, New York, Philadelphia, Raleigh, Atlanta, Miami, then across to LA, San Francisco, Vegas, Phoenix. I'm trying to think of everything here. Austin, Houston, Chicago, Detroit. This is the kind of plan. And so I'm going to see so many different areas of the USA. I mean, there are plenty more I'd love to be able to stop in as well, but ultimately it's a massive country and I don't have forever. But the best thing for me is to just see and experience all of these different places and take it all in and kind of enjoy it. We
had a great time with you today. You've seen our shop here at Fabspeed.
Yeah.
You spent some time doing some videos. You've met our people. So as much as this has been beneficial for you in your stop, I hope, we've really enjoyed the interaction with you, with all of our folks, and giving you a chance to see a little bit about Fabspeed.
Well, for sure, and I appreciate it. I've actually been very impressed by the setup that you have, in the sense of doing everything here, but also the cleanliness and air-conditioned environment and the quality of everything has all been really impressive.
Everybody out there takes part in putting together what we consider to be a little bit of a work of art for each one of the customers one by one. And just to show our appreciation for you coming down here, I've got something here I'd like to give you. This is this is the Fabspeed Phoenix. We have a little plate on here, and it's just thanking you for coming over on the date. But here's the significance of this. Every one of these tack welds is by one of the welders.
Oh, really?
That's here today.
Oh, cool.
For the visit. So not only do you take home a little something about Fabspeed, but each one of our great craftspeople gave a little bit to this as well.
That's cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Tim, thank you very, very much for stopping by.
My pleasure.
We really appreciate it. Do me one favor.
Yeah.
You open every video with, look right over there.
Hi guys, I'm Shmee, and then we've got to end it as well.
Okay.
Cheers.